Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network tonight. Live coverage of round 7 here at, well, if you can't guess it by the picture right there, I'll tell you, it's at the Red Bull Ring. We're here in Spielberg, Austria. This track is fast, it is fun, it's plenty of place to pass. It's just a great track here for any kind of vehicles. I mean, you can come here with anything from the Miatas to the Indy cars to Formula 1 cars. It doesn't matter. This place is a fun little layout, and it's easy enough for anybody to jump in, and arguably, at least in my opinion, probably one of the easiest tracks on the schedule here this season, and usually on a lot of schedules. There's really not much to it, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. You still need to worry about getting that speed and keeping that speed through a lot of these sections. Luckily for the drivers here tonight, clear skies, not going to be raining out here as this track can get a little bit slippery and fun in the rain, but not going to be dealing with that here tonight. We're joined in the booth by Joe Sullivan. Joe, we're here at round 7 already, and this season is starting to shape up. We already a good season so far for the first 6, but this track is going to be a good one here tonight.
Yeah, it is, and I think we were here a couple of seasons ago, but if memory serves me right, but I did a race here in the GT series on through Core a couple of years ago, or last season or so, and yeah, it's a really fun, fast track. It's one of those tracks where if you hit your marks, you're gonna have fun around here. I mean, it's just a really fast track, and it's gonna be fun to see these guys out here tonight. And the season's kind of coming down to an end here. I mean, we've got a couple races left here, and you know, that means the championship standings are starting to shape up, and see who's gonna make the last push here to maybe put their name in there and then come away as champion this season.
You know, what makes it tough, and what's made it tough all season, is a good thing. It's been big, high car counts, and it looks like 36 drivers as of right now set to take the field here tonight. It makes that one mistake cost you potentially big time, and it can, you know, be the difference between a big haul of points or maybe no points at all. And that's where the drop races will certainly come into play. But you know, once you use those two up and have a couple bad races, a third bad race could take you out of any kind of possibility for the points. But speaking of the points, we'll take a look at them right now. And on top of the board, still in the Pro Class, is Craig Jancic with a 13-point margin over Colin Winslow. Chris Hamilton in 3rd place, another 4 points back, and it's kind of a 3-man race at the top there. Savani Madrigal starting to come into form a little bit as of late, so we'll see if he can make any kind of charge up through the rankings there. In the M class, it's definitely a lot tighter. Nicholas Cote on top by only 3 over Anthony Jenkins, who's had a bit of a rough run of luck here the last couple of races. Jim Dutton is certainly on the surge. He is up there now in 3rd place, only 7 points behind the leader. And really the top 5, top 6 still within reaching distance for sure. But we take a look at the manufacturer standings, which we did last year around this time, and kind of a clear picture. And we've seen it in the beginning of the season, the McLaren really getting heavily used, and it's really paid off for these drivers with 15 podiums so far through the 7 races and 4 class wins. But I mean, it's kind of shocking. Like as much as we've seen that McLaren, you know, really be utilized a lot, and even the Porsche. Joe, I'm kind of surprised that almost every car in the field has at least 1 podium, and almost all of them have a win, other than the Chevy, Mercedes, and BMW.
Yeah, it's been pretty. I mean, like we said, the McLaren's been kind of the car of choice, but yeah, it's been kind of spread out and kind of getting love from all the manufacturers there. And I think there's a couple of guys in the Chevrolet here tonight, so maybe one of them can get that Corvette and get it on the podium here tonight, and kind of fill out that podium class there for all the manufacturers. I don't know if anybody's even ran the Merc, to my knowledge. I mean, I guess it's probably not a car that gets touched anymore.
We've seen like 1 or 2 in every race, but it hasn't panned out so far right now. It looks like we got 1 in the field here tonight, Herbert Pineda in the Mercedes, and we got 1 Chevrolet. We got 1 Corvette out there, and that is driven by Chris Hamilton, 3rd in the points in the Pro Class. So both of them right now, you know, kind of top drivers and ones that can sneak into the podium for sure. So maybe finally a podium for either the Chevy or Mercedes out here tonight. But once again, really heavily dominated by the McLaren, and quite a few Porsches out there as usual, but a good amount of Ferraris. And really, looking at the field, I think we may have everybody accounted for in this race, because we got BMWs out there, we got Audis, we got the McLaren, the Ford, the Ferrari, Mercedes, the Chevy. I think every manufacturer, even the Lamborghini out there, is covered here tonight. It might be the first time all season that we've seen that.
Yeah, I was just looking at that too. Yeah, it does appear that, I mean, and we got some of the ones that haven't got podiums are looking kind of fast. I mean, Pineda at 5th and Hamilton in 8th, so maybe we can get them both done here tonight.
Well, we're about to find out here pretty soon, as qualifying is just wrapping up here. The 15 minutes of open qualifying is just about done here. The time has run out. The checker flag is waved. We're just waiting for the time to kind of wind down here and get these drivers their last lap in here, if they did take the white flag. But round number 7 here tonight, again at the Red Bull Ring. It's going to be fast. It's going to be fun. But I mean, looking at the rest of the schedule, it's not terrible. It's not like we're going to any kind of harder tracks. You know, we had Circuit Gilles Villeneuve last week in the rain. It's certainly a rough go for some of the drivers, but you know, next week we go to Watkins Glen, then we go to Fuji, kind of a nice wide open track there, and then finish out the individual season, race number 10 at Sebring, and it's maybe a little bit tighter track, a little bit more technical, but certainly a ton of laps, I'm sure, by all these drivers on Sebring before we end the season with the team-only event at Daytona, which, again, it should be tons and tons of laps for the drivers out there on that one as well. But we are done with our qualifying session here, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the results for qualifying. Starting off in the Pro class, it is going to be, we'll get on something that you can see a little bit better. There we go. It is Colin Winslow on top of the boards, 130.254. Craig Jansick in second. Frank Pisano, Siviani Madrigal, Herbert Pineda, your top 5. Then you got Jonathan Neal, Tyler Torville, Chris Hamilton, Bryce Reiner, John Nobinger in the top 10. Rounding out the Pro car field is going to be Andrew Walker, Christian Marua, Steve Brown, Christian Torres, Dan Barrera, and AJ Roderick. In your AM class field, top of the board is going to be Nicholas Coate, Jim Dutton in second, Jason Potts in third, Anthony Jenkins, Todd Torville, your top 5. Then you got Jim Herrick, Randy Ayers, Brandon Potts, Renan De Lima, William Burrell for the top 10. Looking at the rest of the field, 20 cars in attendance here tonight for the Pro or for the AM class. Steve Santana, Fozzie Fazilla, Brandon Powell, Steve Taylor, Jay Little, Ian Wilson, Nick Russell, Josiah De Cruz, Paul Bailey, and then Glenn Lazon. Glenn has not been on the track yet, or not yet tonight, so may only be 35 out there. We'll see if the number 69 is out there in the field, but we are set to start this thing off. We're going to go ahead and shoot it on down to your pole sitter here tonight, which is going to be Colin Winslow, and get around at this pace lap here. And again, it's a beautiful, beautiful track out here. I'm really a big fan of it, and it's really tricky into turn 1 because you can catch that curb on the inside. It's a little bit too much and it'll shoot you to the outside, or you can drive that corner just a little bit too hard, get to the outside, and you can kind of hop that curb. And the best case scenario, you hop it, you slide out to the side, and maybe you get a little slowdown, but it can certainly hop you straight over into the barrier as well. So it's kind of one of those where it's the beginning of the lap, you want to nail it, you want to get that good start to the race, but it can ruin it really quick.
Yeah, I got in here and jumped around and got a couple laps with these boys, and I got a hold of that curve one time, and it sent me flying, and you just kind of out of control, and you're just kind of holding on and then hoping that you don't get in the way or hit anybody else, and because you're just along for the ride at that point until you can kind of gather it. But yeah, it's something to be fun to watch for as all of these guys are barreling down into turn 1. And we'll see how this Pro class here shakes out today. I mean, Colin's got to make some moves here. I mean, it's getting late in the season here, and he's got to try to gain some ground on Craig. And I mean, he's got the pole here tonight, and we'll see how this battle shakes out as this race goes on. But you know, he's going to need one of them off nights from Craig, and Colin take advantage of that and try to get a win here tonight. And in the AM class, I mean, the top 2 in the standings are top 2 in qualifying here, so they're going to be. I mean, that's going to be a battle to watch as well. As Mr. Dutton won last week and is looking to keep building that momentum as he's had just one of them seasons. I'm sure that he'll, you know, won't ever forget. So he wants to keep that momentum going and try to put some pressure on Nicholas Cote.
Well, Cote, the points leader, has the pole, but Jim Dutton actually in third in the points, 7 points back. It's Anthony Jenkins in second that had a bit of a rough qualifying back there in fifth. So we'll see if he can kind of turn it around after that and make a run through the field. But we're coming up to the final corners right now, coming into Rin, and then we will get this thing fired off here. It is going to be in control by Barney as usual as they come through the final corner, and a really tough little double right-hander to finish off this lap. And you got to nail it coming out of this final corner. You got to get all kinds of speed because it is go time here at the Red Bull Ring. Barney's got that green flag and he is waving it. Again, I was going to say eventually he's waving it, and we are racing here at the Red Bull Ring. Mass Chaos coming down into turn number 1 here. Just make it through safely. Try and get as much speed as possible going out of there. You can see how slow, big traffic jam there.
Big, yeah.
Heading it to the mid-stretch.
Still. 36 cars, just amazing car count.
One of the toughest corners right here is Remus, real tight. Almost a full-on hairpin here, and you're almost down to first gear, and some even do get down to first gear to try and get that thing rotated through there. Heading onto the backstretch, the fastest part of this track, down into Schlussgold. Another one, it's high braking coming into here, and you see it's pointed downhill a little bit, so some drivers can make this mistake here and get off into that kitty litter. Getting off into Roush, and it's just a nice flowy section through here. Left-hander, a little bit of a straight, another left-hander that kind of sends you through Worth right here to the left, and then Worth to the right. And head off down into Rind, which is the penultimate corner here. And then right here, you see right there to the left, kind of at the top of your screen, above the Austrian flag right there, that is where pit entry is. So you need to keep it really tight going through Rind if you're going to come into the pits. And I mean, I know some of these drivers don't like to tip their hands, and they don't want to say, hey, I'm coming in, or I'm pitting. They don't want to give away their strategy at all. But I mean, you have to keep it slow enough through there to keep it on that inside to get into pit lane. So you could see some calamity right there as well. But out front, Craig Jansen was able to grab the lead from Colin Winslow. Silvani Madrigal moves himself into second, but you see right there Winslow in third. Frank Bassano, Herbert Pineda, your top 5 in the Pro class. Over in the AM class, Nicholas Cote is leading the way. Jim Dutton in second, Anthony Jenkins third, Todd Torville, and Jason Potts, your top 5.
Have a good start here for Frank. I mean, I haven't really talked about him much this season, and the man's up there in 4th right now, and having a good start to this race. And we got a top 10 there in the Pro class. I mean, just is that every manufacturer right now?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, we got BMW, we got McLaren, Audi, Ferrari, Mercedes, Lamborghini, Ford, Chevy. Yeah, all 8 manufacturers in the top 8. That is something I don't think we've ever seen in any GT3 racing, whether it's something broadcasted or hell, even in endurance racing. I don't think I've ever seen every manufacturer in the top 8.
You only get it here at CSRL. I mean, just amazing.
So the driver just kind of settling in right now, pretty much single file through the field. A couple battles a little bit deeper in the field. But for the most part, everybody is just kind of feeling out these first couple laps. Little battle here as looks like Ren de Lima going to the left side of your screen there on the inside of Randy Ayers. This is the battle for 7th and 8th position in the M class. And as usual, Randy does not give up positions easily, and Ren de Lima is going to have to live the fight another day as Randy Ayers is able to hold him off.
He needs a good race here too tonight. Randy, he's been kind of quiet this season. jump back down to the AM class, and haven't talked to him too much this season, so he's another guy looking to get back going and finish strong this season.
Yeah, I thought the drop back down would kind of, rejuvenate him a little bit, but he's still kind of, it kind of seems like he's stuck in a bit of a malaise this season, after the championship, and it just some championship woes from last season, just a bit of a hangover, maybe he's still hungover from last season and celebrating it. It certainly seems that way, but
he's on the Cody Jacobs tour.
Yeah, exactly. A good start for all these drivers out here, and again, it's pretty much single file, not too much battling going on right now. Looks like Ortiz Torres looking to the inside here on Todd Torville. Not for position, just for overall 17th and 18th right now.
That's probably one of the spots we want to be making some passes there. I mean, I know you kind of get a run down that straightaway, but it's kind of tight through there, and you don't really get a run coming out of that turn if you don't hit it right, and then you don't get too much room there.
Yeah, I mean, right there, Remus is definitely a good passing opportunity, but you really have to commit on that inside and kind of force that driver on the outside to make a choice how hard they want to run you. You see right there, Ortiz Torres doesn't force the hand enough. He's got to settle back in line right behind these guys. Dan Herrera getting to the inside there of Jason Potts, making that pass. But yeah, into turn one is definitely an opportunity, because coming out of the final corner, there's so many different ways that you can take it, and it's not that difficult of a corner, but to get maximum speed coming out of there, you really have to nail it. You have to get all the way down to the inside of the corner. And we'll take a look here at Craig Jansen coming through here, your leader. You see, you want to get all the way down there, close to that yellow curb on the inside, and let the car drift all the way out to the outside. And you can get almost all four tires off the track without getting a slowdown. And you need to do that to maximize the amount of speed coming out of there and down the front stretch. If you don't, that's where you're vulnerable to somebody else doing that and making that pass. I mean, there's plenty of straightaways here to get some drafting, but these GT3s aren't really known so much for drafting. I mean, we see probably more drafting ability in the GT4s than we do in the GT3s, which is kind of a shame. I mean, tracks like this, where there's so many straightaways, you wish that the draft actually meant a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a track like this, right? I mean, fast enough, and you carry a lot of speed around here too, so it would make the racing just a little bit better if it kind of didn't make an impact. Let's see if we got the blink. Ooh.
Hamilton hanging it out there on the outside of Jonathan Neal. And Neal trying to pinch him here a little bit. This is the battle for 7th and 8th overall here in the Pro Class. That's going to leave an opportunity maybe for Tyler Torville, but he's going to fall back in line behind this battle.
This is a good finish too, because it's going to put some more pressure on Colin and Craig.
Yeah, certainly not out of the mix yet, but no. He's the meat in a Lamborghini sandwich right now, and I don't think he's too happy about it. He's trying to figure out a way to get out of it one way or another.
So he spun the wheel and landed on Corvette this week.
Yeah, it seems like that's what his decision making is weekly. It feels like he's been in so many different cars this year. I know he's been in the Porsche. I think he's been in the McLaren. I know his typical feeling is Porsche. That's where he likes to run, or the Mercedes. But we haven't seen him in Mercedes. I don't know if we've seen him in Mercedes all year. But now trying around the outside here. It seems to be kind of the preferred line around there, because you can carry so much speed out of there, but you see, again, just enough drive by that Lamborghini, and now Hamilton going to go to the outside again. But Neal doing some great defending there as they come right at you. Hamilton may finally have the advantage heading into Roush, and he will indeed make the pass. A little scrap there early on. Tyler Torville now trying to do the same.
He got some speed in practice as well here. I think he was up towards the top of the charts in practice.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's another one that's kind of seems to have been finding a bit of a groove lately. We're starting to see Tourville creep up those charts just a little bit more than we've seen in recent seasons even. So good to see that 22 having a little bit of speed once again here tonight. But he's got John Nobinger now and the Mercedes, or not the Mercedes, the McLaren right behind him as probably the closest group of manufacturers all together here. Jonathan Neal, Tyler Tourville in 8th and 9th, and then Bryce Reiner in 11th, not too far behind him. And Reiner's kind of been another one that's been a bit of a surprise this year. Coming up from a very successful season last season in the AMP class, really kind of felt like he was, maybe a top 5 pro guy last year. Hasn't really shown it this year. I mean, I know he's kind of had the typical Reiner issues early on in some of these races and spinning out and having to fight back through the rest of the field, but we've seen him do that last year and not as much fight this year. I haven't seen too much from the 24 cam.
No, and maybe that's just him just taking a step back here and realizing, hey, I got some speed, but let's kind of rein that in a little bit, and try to get some of these laps and these races completed and then try to tear it down and build it back up right and build it back up so you're stronger for longer and can kind of be a top 5 pro guy here as the season's progresses here.
A couple incidents to take a look at here, and one of them involved Randy Ayers. It may not have been this one. He had a few incidents here, and this one just getting it a little bit wrong coming through the corner. Already you see in front of him there Steve Santana spun in and off the track. But then he had another issue. Try and see what exactly happened here to the 66.
Ooh, it's broken. That right rear's.
Yeah, it is not happy. He ended up towing it to the pits from there. Shamarua a little bit earlier, and I think you're going to see this quite a few times, at least on our side here in SDK. But no, that wasn't indeed a spin, and that's kind of the worst spot to be spun out in, because you can see right there, it's just tough. Pretty good job there getting it spun back around. A little sketchy there on the rejoin, but the cars are coming out of there slow enough that they can make that decision to get out of there.
Potts was able to get around him there.
Nobinger still doing a good job holding off Bryce Reiner. And so is your leader, Greg Jancic. Not exactly stretching out the lead here, not stretching his legs like normal, like we're used to seeing, at least not yet. Still plenty early in this race, 12 minutes in. But Siviani Madrigal has kept them close, and we've seen this multiple times here from Siviani, just kind of hanging back there. Typically, he's in third. Typically, we see Colin right there in second and Siviani in third, just watching these guys do battle. So Siviani may be in uncharted territories here. He is the one in second right now, looking at Craig Jancic. So it's Winslow that gets to watch this little battle. And I mean, you take a look right there at the top 6. Not much separating them at all. I mean, the top 6 right now only covered by 2.5 seconds. And then you got that same amount, another 2.5 seconds back to 7th place. So certainly a 6-car breakaway here at the front with Jancic, Madrigal, Winslow, Pisano, Pineda, and Walker.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up that point. Usually, when these races, get into the quarter mark, half mark, these battles get, few and far between. But here at this track, it's so fast and so tight that, I mean, you look, there's a lot of orange, there's a lot of yellow. I mean, these guys are on top of each other. Siviani make that move. Nope.
A little bit of a dummy there from Siviani, and decides to pull back in line, but showing him a little bit of bumper, showing him like, hey, go ahead and make a mistake. I am ready to pounce. And Colin Winslow right behind as well, not too far behind. 0.6 of a second separating your top 3 right now. And then you see right there Frank Pisano leading that second little group, as Siviani's had some blinking issues to start this thing, and I'm wondering if that's costing him here a little bit. But either way, he's hanging in there strong. Back towards the M-Class field, that is Jonathan Neal getting around Jim Dutton and now Steve Brown getting around. Neither of them are for position, but it is going to put 2 cars in between AM class leader Nicholas Cote and Jim Dutton. And now you see that big Porsche right behind him. Roxy is coming up there. That is Anthony Jenkins. So the top 3 in the points, top 3 right now in your AM class, but it is Nicholas Cote that is leading the way.
And I was just going to check. Brennan DeLima's got a win too. So those 3 have covered up all the wins except for Brennan DeLima's got a win here too this season. So the top 3 in the AM class all have wins this season. And you know, Jenkins started off the season hot and then missed a couple races, and then now he's looking to get back into it.
Yeah, Jenkins start off with the first 2 or 3 wins, I think.
First 2, yep. So yeah, first 2. Yeah, P1 at Monza and then Le Mans. And then second at Indy, round 3.
That's what it might have been. Yeah, he just missed. That's right. Yeah. He just missed the triple at the beginning. Right back up front, and once again you see what your top 6 looks like coming at you on the screen. A big bobble back there by Chris Hamilton. Had to use the off track there, and it may end up being a slowdown as you see Tyler Torville going by to take over 7th place. Surprised it actually didn't register as an off track in SEK, because we could see it clearly right there. I'm wondering if Madrigal is kind of stuck here. He wants to put the pressure on leader Jancic, but he also needs to make sure he makes the pass at the right time and can complete the pass, because you see Winslow right there. Winslow is right on his bumper, so one little mistake from Siviani or one kind of failed attempt at taking over the lead, he can go from battling for first to falling back to 3rd place that quickly. Some issues here. Poor man that I feel like we've talked about a lot this season, but really never for the right reasons. And that is Jim Herrick. Luckily, that is just a little bit of an off track right there. As Jim currently running in 16th place in the AM class. It's certainly not on pace here tonight, but making the pass right there, and that's why I thought there was something that we seen, and he ended up towing into the pits from there. So another rough one. Andrew Walker now fancies a pass here on Herbert Pineda. Thought about it for a second, but Walker covers the inside now.
Good run here.
Pineda covers the inside, but now here comes Walker, getting a good run out of the corner. Which one's got more horsepower, the Ford or the Mercedes? Another dive to the inside, but once again, some later braking there from Pineda is going to hold on to 5th place here.
Walker's been in the Mustang exclusively this season.
And I think he's doing well in it. I mean, he's showing some really good speed, and really one of the few out here in the Ford, especially all season. Now AJ Roderick back in the Ford as well, deeper in the field. But it's again, it may not be the best car out there right now. It sounds great, that's for sure. But it's one that you find a car that you like, you find a car that you're comfortable with, and sometimes it may not be the fastest one, but if you understand how you can handle it, doesn't matter if you're jumping in the quote-unquote fastest car every single week. If you can't maximize it, you can't find that speed, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to feel comfortable in it, and you're not going to be able to turn those fast times. So it's sometimes better just getting to know every little nuance of one car and just kind of finding your niche in that car. Eventually you'll find the track that it suits, and you'll be one of the better ones out there for it.
Obviously you got a lot more experience at this stuff. Like, do you remotely have an idea? I mean, let's just say it's a track that maybe you haven't been to at all or haven't been to in a while. Do you have like an idea of what cars are going to be fast there?
Yeah, you get a general idea because you understand how some of them handle. Some of them will rotate a little bit better than others. Some of them are more high speed than others. Some of them can handle the, you know, the kind of the tracks that have a lot of switchbacks in them. Some handle the high speed turns a lot better, you know, because obviously the cars that rotate a little bit quicker and better through those tight little S turns, like, you know, say at Monza, for instance, are not going to be as good when it comes to those high speed corners, because they're going to rotate that back end around a little bit quicker and get a little bit more sketchy. Now, if you can rein that in and handle it, then you may be faster overall with that. But yeah, it's there's certain cars that just seem to be the better ones overall. I mean, obviously, once this McLaren came out, it was amped up, and it was just the best at kind of everything. They reeled it in a little bit, but it still seems like it's one of the better cars to just jump into and take pretty much anywhere at this point. But it's at least gotten a little bit closer. They balanced the power out a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic, that it can, you know, just all the other cars can compete with it, as with these little blink outs and netcos there from Siviani. It looked like the car exploded there for a second. But yeah, I mean, you have to experiment with different cars, and sometimes there's going to be, you know, 2 or 3 cars that are, you know, the quote unquote fast cars for that you know, for that race, for that session, whatever it is, and you just got to get out there and test them out, because in these fixed races here, like they are here in CSRL, it is a fixed setup, so these drivers can't do anything really at all with the setup short of changing the brake bias. So you really have to kind of figure out which one handles the best. I mean, if you're comfortable in one car and you just want to run that all season, I have no problem with that at all. But you know, you'll certainly see some guys jumping around in different cars. We've seen Craig Jancic now. I think this is his fourth or fifth different car that he's been in this season.
Yeah, and this is like, so if you're, you know, testing these cars and one of them's like clearly faster, but it's, you know, right on that edge of out of control, is that maybe, or it's a car that's maybe, let's say 2-3 tenths slower, but it's more manageable over 45 minutes? Do you just, you know, go more conservative, or is it just kind of play whatever you are, you know, the circumstances are, whether you need to be fast that night or if you just need a consistent finish?
Well, it depends on the driver, but typically 45 minutes, this is a short race, as what a dive and a double dive there, as Walker tries to get a 2-for-1 there around Pisano and Torville, or I'm sorry, Pisano and Pineda. Pineda says thank you very much, and he gets around he gets around Pisano. What a move. I think we got to take a look at that again. That was pretty epic right there.
Frank's probably wondering what just happened.
I mean, that was pretty amazing, heading up to Remus right there, and man, I mean,
I think Walker had
I don't think Pineda realized that Walker was making a move, because he was too worried about making the move himself. And it worked out for all 3 of them. But wow, bit of a change up there in the top 6, as Pineda now moves up to 4th, Walker up to 5th, and Pisano drops back down to 6th. But man, that was a bit fun. That was a good little battle right there. But up front, it is still Craig Jancic, Silvani Madrigal exploding behind him. He is still in 2nd. And Colin Winslow right back there in 3rd. A 3-car breakaway at the front there, ahead by now about 3 seconds over that little triplicate battle there for 4th, 5th, and 6th. That being Pineda, Walker, and Pisano over in the M class. And now making his way up into the top 10 overall. Nicholas Cote in 9th place overall right now. He is your leader in the M class. Jim Dutton settling in right now in 13th place overall, but he's got Anthony Jenkins right behind him. This is the battle for 2nd place in the M class, and more importantly, some points here on the line that neither driver wants to give up. Renan de Lima, Fozzie Vizillo, your top 5 right now, but I was going to say we should be seeing some pit stops coming here soon. Already Chris Hamilton into the pits, and we'll see if maybe a little bit of a pit stop here may help him out, but he may be having some bigger issues. Not sure if he had a pit road penalty, but he is in the pits for quite some time.
Yeah, it's over a minute now.
And right there is why. Unsafe entry from Hamilton.
Oh, you talked about it, how tricky this pit entry is.
And we'll see if he got help here or not.
Or maybe he wasn't trying to pit. No, yeah.
Thing just snaps out on him, and I think he realized, well, I'm right here by the pits. I might as well come in. But unfortunately, he had a 40-second penalty tacked on top of it. So that is certainly going to hurt his chances here tonight. Pineda and Jenkins now in the pits. See if the short pit pays off for these drivers. Doesn't seem like the times are really dropping off too much. Craig Jansik's fastest lap of the race at 1:30.32. Last lap he ran at 1:30.57. So I don't think the short pit is gonna mean as much as it does on some of these tracks we go to. But man, top three still separated by about 0.6 of a second.
I think the only thing that's gonna come into play here is, I mean, some lap traffic, but it's not too bad. I mean, there's 3 single cars in front of them before they get to really any more danger with this way out there.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the short pit that comes into play, but I think it's how and when you pit. You've seen how difficult it is getting into this pit lane. I think the driver that can nail that pit entry and even the pit exit, you're kind of in a cattle chute coming through turn number 1 on the inside there, and you really got to try and get through that as quick as possible to set yourself up for the rest of the lap. And right there, Colin Winslow dives off. I think he got inside there. I think he should be okay. We'll take a look at the time and see if he gets a penalty on that one. But Colin Winslow in the pits. Tyler Torville also coming into the pits from that top 6. Jim Dutton gives up second place in the M class. He comes into the pits as well.
Well, I'm just going to mention, and I jump in here and try to get a couple laps in before the race sometimes if I have the time. And I was actually on board with watching Colin do some laps, and he did like 3 or 4 laps in a row of just doing a lap and then practice in the pit. Go back out, do a lap, and then practice the pit. So he was definitely working on that right here before the race started. So we'll see if that will pay off for him.
A couple more coming into the pits here. And yeah, I'm not sure if we talked about it last week on the broadcast or if it was me and Jimmy on another broadcast, but it shocks me of how much time guys spend out there on the track and putting in lap after lap after lap and trying to figure out how to get faster on the track. And you practice long enough, you can find, 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second there, but you can find a half a second just when it comes to pit stops if you're nailing it correctly, and that's really gain a ton of time. And it surprises me that, I mean, this one in particular, this is probably one of the easier tracks to run on the track itself. You can certainly figure out where to gain some speed on the field, but the pit entry here and even the pit exit are a little bit tougher than you typically see out there. And I think it's prudent for these drivers to just get out there and practice the pit stops. So I'm happy to hear, and not surprised to hear, that Craig Jansik was one of them practicing those pit stops here, because he knows how to be fast on the track. He's got to figure out how to not lose any time on that pit road.
Yeah, and as tight as it is here, and especially on the top 3, and then even 4th, 5th, and 6th there, I mean, when it's hard to make a pass here, you got to find somewhere to make a pass, and what better way, an easier way to do it is on pit road. I know Jimmy, he harps on that. I mean, it's if he ever writes a book about racing, it's going to be in there. It's going to be a long one. So yeah, I know he's a big master your pit road. Just get that down. It's so crucial when you get into some of these races where the level of competition is kind of level with what you're racing with, and if you can have that advantage and get a free pass, get a free position just by doing all you can on pit entry and pit exit, and hey, that's what you got to do.
Oh, we seen it last night. I think it was the first time that me and Jimmy didn't talk about pit road, and it was one of the most difficult pit roads on oval racing, that being Darlington Raceway. It's a horribly tough pit entry to get into, as we see your leaders now, Jansik and Madrigal, coming into the pits. But we've seen our leader at the time in the race coming into pit lane, losing it, and didn't get a safe entry. It was an unsafe entry into the pits, 40-second hold, and he went from not necessarily dominating the race. He was leading, and it was very tough to pass there. But it cost him the race. It cost him not only a win, not only a podium, it cost him even outside the top 5. He ended up finishing 6th place overall, and that was after having to battle extremely hard to come back in that race, but it was all because of pit entry. If he nails that pit entry instead of sliding sideways, he could very well have gone on to win that race. It's really the only thing that cost him the win, and that's how quickly he can get thrown away. And you see it right there from earlier from Chris Hamilton up there battling, you know, just outside that top 5, and now he's you know, he's marked back in the pack. He is 26th overall, 15th in the pro class. Granted, a few guys in front of him have to come into the pits yet, but I mean, 7th back to 26th. That could cost you the championship, and you know, he's right there battling in the top 3 in the championship. This right here, it could end up being one of his drop races if he doesn't have them already. It's not what you can't afford that if you're one of the guys chasing. You can't afford it if you're leading, but you certainly can't afford it if you're chasing.
It's also a thing, I mean, it's probably a little bit harder and more difficult on the old stuff, you know, especially in some of these longer races, longer runs, and, you know, pitting with fresh tires versus pitting with, you know, 40, 50 lap old tires is totally different, and it's a total different, you know, braking point and all that, and, you know, even here, I mean, even just running the 20, 30 minutes here and coming in the pit, and it's going to be different, so you have to take that into account too. So you not only have to practice your pit, as look at that, Collins in second there.
Yeah, it's the pit stops have finalized here, and we'll see how close it was here for Winslow getting into second place. You see right there is Madrigal coming out of the pits, and right there is Greg Jansen coming out of the pits as well. Winslow had a run, had a chance to get up there and maybe make a run at Jansen, but just not close enough. Goes for a bit of a dummy there. Tries to brake later, but not enough. So that brings us to, we have live right now, the top 3, still the top 3, just a little shake-up. Winslow now in second, but here comes Madrigal looking for a bit of a move. He's going to fall back in line, but ultimately what this means is Winslow did not get a penalty. He was able to survive that thing, and he's back out there battling. Top 5, Jancic, Winslow, Madrigal, Walker, and Pineda. And then in the AM class, you got Nicholas Cote now with a nice sizable lead over Jim Dutton, 7.3 seconds over Jim Dutton in second, who's got a little bit of an advantage now as well over Anthony Jenkins in the 3rd place. Fozzie Vazillo, Brennan DeLima rounding out the top 5 in the AM class.
If you hear thundering, that's just from outside my house, not at the racetrack. So there's a storm rolling in. So if I go silent, I will be back as soon as possible. So
there's nothing new with that chili 8 tonight. All right, gotcha. Well, we are into the back half of this race. We are already 32 minutes into this race, and I think this thing is just about to heat up here. I'm sure these drivers have been throwing everything they could at each other, and especially at Greg Jansic, but he has yet to falter at the front in that BMW. And it is still the top 3 covered by less than a second. And then you got another 6 seconds back to Andrew Walker in 4th place. But again, I mean, the top 6 different manufacturers. You've got BMW, Audi, McLaren, Ford, Mercedes, and Lamborghini. And then even in 8th place, you got the Ferrari as it's getting late. It's getting late. It's time to start showing your cards.
Yeah, these guys have been driving it in deeper than Craig. I mean, they've definitely been pushing the braking zone here, and as we get later in this race, I mean, we're only like 12 minutes left here, but does Colin have something for Craig here? I mean, how many times can you just finish second, you know?
I'm waiting for Madrigal to blink from 3rd and be in 1st, and blink back in 1st.
Walker himself in first.
Yeah, we'll start calling him the Magic Man. But as of right now, it's a good battle here, and it's a battle that we've seen pretty much all season. I think the only time we didn't see Winslow and Jansic battle on track was when Winslow was up here with us in the booth. But we're about to see. Was this battle number 7 here on the season? I think there are actually 6, I guess, on the season here at this point. And it's getting closer and closer by the lap. It seems like Winslow is a little bit faster than Jansic, but when and where can he set up this pass?
They're trying to give a little bit of, they're putting a little bit of space there on Siviani, but yeah, he probably wants to maybe pull away here and maybe do a last lap pass, but he's gonna have to pull something out of his bag.
Zillow looking to try and get around Renan de Lima. There's a battle for 4th and 5th, and at the AM class heating up here as well. Good thing they're running in different manufacturers because the paint scheme's almost the same here, both in the red and white paint schemes. But it is Renan de Lima still holding off Zillow here for 4th.
Yeah, Brandon Potts there in 6th.
Machine trying to reel these guys in, and probably hoping these guys do a little bit of battling to help reel him in to battle for the top 5. And certainly doing so, closing in nicely.
Good turn there.
The view from up front is getting closer. It is. Everybody's still covered by less than a second, and Jancing has held off every bit so far, but we're coming down to the final 10 minutes now of this race, and we don't get to do it too often. We'll certainly keep it trained a lot on this battle right here, but let's go ahead and crank it up and give everyone out there in CRN Nation a little love to hear it. Less than 5 minutes left here in the race. The sights and sounds there of the CSRL GT3 series. This is season 10, round number 7, and you haven't missed a thing as it is starting to heat up at the front. Battle for the lead. Colin Winslow looking left, looking right, looking everywhere to try and get around Jancic. Now he's going to dive to the inside. Now a little bit of a dummy there. He's going to fall back in line. Meanwhile, Madrigal right there as well, waiting to pounce. Jancic has not given up this lead all race, short of when he came into the pits and Pisano was able to lead a lap. But other than that, it has been all number 3 at the front, but he has not broken away at all. He has not had a lead of more than, I want to say, a half a second all race. It has been either Winslow or Madrigal right behind him the entire time. And this thing is far from over. 0.6 of a second separating your top 3 in the Pro class. Nicholas Cote enjoying a 8-second lead over Jim Dutton, who is another run going here tonight in second place and showing why he should be up there in the top 3 in the standings. But the top 3 in the standings are 1, 2, 3 right now. Cote, Dutton, and Jenkins in the AM class. Fazzillo in 4th and Potts in 5th. But man, we've had our eyes trained on this battle all race long, and it's close once again. You see how close it is. 1/10 of a second separating them, heading up into Remus. Dive to the inside here from Winslow. Can he get the drive out with that Audi? Madrigal right behind, trying to figure out who do I follow, who's got the better run, where did I go? all these questions here from Madrigal, but Jancic gonna hold off once again. And man, the battle is certainly waging here. Coming down to the final laps here. We'll see if they get the white flag this time by. It's gonna be close. And I don't want to see this thing get the white flag. I want to see 2, 3, 5 more laps. As this thing is getting awesome right here. Coming to the end once again. And once again, it's the 3, the 19, and the 8. All under a blanket right now. And you can see they are clear, everybody, by 7 seconds. Walker's got his hands full with Pineda, as that is very close with 4th and 5th. But this is the battle we're watching right now, and Madrigal looked there for a second to maybe make a move for second place. But now he's going to lose some time, a bit of a rough exit there out of the final corner. And that may be a little breathing room that Winslow needed, so he can just focus on what's ahead instead of what's behind him. The white flag did not come out. We still got 2 laps to go. Madrigal just trying to hang on.
Colin backed up that last turn there to try to get a better run down the straight, and I think it caught Siviani off guard. And that's going to be your separation right there. Now it's Colin's going to have about a lap and a half here to try to get around Craig.
Good rotation there from the Audi. Dives to the inside again. Jancic blocks him off. He's going to make him go the long way around here, make him make a dive once again. Into Schluschkold again, but it's still Jancic holding on, but a bit of a slide. Maybe gives the inside edge slightly to Winslow, but not enough here. It's allowing Madrigal to crawl back into this battle. It's not over yet. One little bobble from either of these guys, and Madrigal will drive on through a bit of a wide run there. But still right there in it is Winslow. He's got to gather it back in here, though. He's now back a half a second. Probably the biggest lead we've seen all race here for Jancic. And now falling back into the clutches of Madrigal. Did that little bobble through Roush cost Winslow a chance and get those tires a little dirty. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. Winslow's got to go defensive now, down into 1, and it looks like he is going to leave Madrigal to it and says, you know what, you have at it. I tried my best to get around him. Now it's your turn, but they've got a bit of a gap to crawl back into this thing. Jancic now out to a 7/10 of a second lead, saving his best for the end. And man, this is great racing. This is what you come to see your end for, and what you come to watch CSRL for. Great battling all the way through the race. We have not seen these guys separated by 1.5 seconds this entire race, and even you look at it right now, the top 3 covered by 1.3 seconds, but when Madrigal now is the one that is trying to get up here and battle.
Oh, I thought you lost it there. Ooh. Get a little bit of slide from Civiani there.
He's trying anything and everything he can to catch up to that 3 and give him one more run. Just not enough right now. 0.4 of a second separating in the top 2. And Jancic goes a little bit wide there, may lose a little bit of time, but really tough sector to make any kind of passes through this final portion right here through Rin one more time, and you'll see Civiani try to do everything he can to catch back up. But one last rotation through the final corner. Jancic is gonna hold off all the charges here tonight. Another win. It was not easy with the 3 back on top of the boards. Craig Jancic, your winner here tonight. Civiani Madrigal, Colin Winslow coming home in 2nd and 3rd. You see the battle right there, how close it was. Andrew Walker able to hold off Pineda for 4th and 5th. Tyler Torville, a good finish right there. 6th place for the 22 here tonight. Nicholas Coe coming by. He is your winner in the M class. Jim Dutton now crossing the line. He is going to finish in 2nd. Now coming across the line in 3rd for the M class. Another good run here for Jenkins. The top 3 in points will finish 1, 2, 3 here tonight. Jason Potts has a bit of a battle coming to the end here as Fazzillo trying to get up there and get into the top 4, but it is going to be Jason Potts with a good run here. Haven't seen Potts up there for a little bit, so he's going to come up in 4th here tonight. Fozzie Fazzillo in 5th. But man, just a little bit of what we used to see almost all the time here in CSRL. Just a 3, 4, 5 car breakaway at the front, and it was fantastic the entire race. Man, I love me some Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, it's good racing out here tonight from these boys. I mean, battles everywhere and all the way through the race here, and even down to the end there where Colin gave it all he had there, and just wasn't quite enough here to get around Craig here tonight. I see what happened to Brandon Potts, because Brandon Potts had just moved into 4th and got around Fozzie Fazzillo, and then I don't know what happened to him. He fell back to 7th. Like he had like a...
Looked like he entered pit lane for some reason, trying to look back and see if there was anything in particular. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything unless maybe he took enough fuel. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I don't see any kind of incidents. I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't have an incident. Sometimes I think he misses it, but what a finish here from the boys at CSRL. And let's go ahead and take a look at your final race results here from the Pro class. It is going to be Craig Jancic taking the win at Civiani Madrigal, Colin Winslow, your podium positions, Andrew Walker, Herbert Pineda, your top 5, Tyler Torville, Bryce Reiner, Steve Brown, Dan Herrera, Christian Barua in your top 10. Then you got Christian Torres, John Nominger, Frank Bassano, AJ Roderick, Chris Hamilton, and Jonathan Neal. And that's not I kind of wonder what happened to Frank Bassano, because he had to come in and do the pits as well. So maybe some issues there for both of them, not taking enough fuel and thinking it was going to be 1 lap less. But either way, we'll head over to the M class, which is going to be Nicholas Cote getting the win, Jim Dutton in 2nd, Anthony Jenkins in 3rd, Jason Potts, Brandon Powell, your top 5, Brandon Potts, William Burrell, Len Lozon, Jay Little, Ian Wilson for the top 10, and pretty good run there from Len Lozon after not putting any laps in here in practice or qualifying to come home in 8th. Rest of the field in the M class, Fozzie Fazzillo, Brendan DeLima. Actually, I'm wondering why it has Fozzie Fazzillo there in 11th. Kind of confused on that, because I thought he came home in... Well, not sure what's going on there. But we'll double check that. Looks like it has him in the AM class, but also in the Pro class. I'm kind of confused. But either way, Brendan DeLima, Todd Torville, Randy Ayers, Paul Bailey, Josiah DeCruz, Steve Taylor, and I haven't called him Steve Tyler all night, so that's a little pat in the back for me. And Nick Russell, Jim Herrick, and Steve Santana rounding out your 20 car field here in the AM class. And we're getting these guys up here. Joe, if you want to just double check on Fozzie Fazzillo, make sure I have him coded in here correctly in the correct class. But man, what a run here for the boys once again, and we'll be certain to get them up here for their well-deserved interviews here in a second. But and Red Bull Ring, it always puts on a heck of a race, and it did not disappoint here once again.
He's an AM, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. It might just be on.
It looks like Frank had a penalty because he had about a 1.5-minute pit stop.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering
So
what
what
Fozzie had, because I have him in fifth on one side, and then I have him in 11th in the final result. So it might have been a post-race penalty for Fazillo, and it can happen very easily here because you can get a penalty coming out of that final corner if you don't serve it by the line. It's going to kick you back. So I'm not saying that's what happened, but quite possibly.
Yeah, I mean, if you have no time to serve it.
Yeah, and you can't come into the pits and do a drive-through, especially on that last lap. But man, either way, heck of a round 7 here tonight. We'll go ahead and start bringing in our top 3 from each, and we'll go ahead and start with our Pro class. If it will change the camera for me, there we go. All right, there we go. So we'll go ahead and start with the Pro class. Colin Winslow is going to be the man that finished in 3rd place here tonight in the 19 and the Audi. And Colin, you guys just put on some kind of battle next time? It was really boring just watching you guys nose to tail that entire time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, what was it like being in the car? I mean, obviously we loved it. I loved every minute of it up here for the 45 minutes. I mean, you guys did not leave each other for 45 minutes short of coming into the pits, but it had to be nerve-wracking and stressful in the car.
Frustrating, probably. That I just did not think that Audi was that down on straight line speed, but apparently it was. I literally could get the best exit ever, but I still got pulled away from. So
yeah, man, it looked like you had a couple chances there late. I mean, you were able to reel Craig in a couple times, but it looked like maybe one little mistake in Rin is what kind of cost you there, and you got in the kitty litter and seemed to kind of get those tires a little dirty for a couple corners and cost you 2nd place.
Well, that was actually, I got to slow down out of the last turn. Just trying to push too hard at the end there, which is fine. I've already used my 2 drop races, so it's going to take some miracle for me to stay in the championship. But yeah, just frustrating. The Audi was just, I felt so fast, and I knew when I lost a lead at the beginning, I was going to be on the struggle bus to pass him back, because I mean, I'm talking like I'm on Craig's bumper and he's still pulling away from me, which is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a little bit during the broadcast. It's kind of a shame that these GT3s just don't draft. There's really little to no draft at all. I mean, you compare these to the GT4s, you can see the drafting in the GT4s, and you can make passes with drafting in them. But if you just had just a little bit of drafting here with these GT3s, it would have made this race just unbelievable.
Yeah, it definitely would have. I felt like I had the speed tonight. I definitely did have the speed, but yeah, just the straight line speed was not there. So
what was it about the track here tonight? Typically we see 1 or 2 cars kind of be the dominant cars. Obviously we've seen the McLaren for quite some time this season be the dominant car, and even the Porsche, but first time possibly ever here in the series, or really anywhere, that we've seen the top 8 in qualifying, all different manufacturers.
Yeah, I think this track is pretty simple. There's not many turns, and it's not a super technical track. It's actually a pretty easy track. So I think that if you're comfortable with a specific car, I think you can make it work around here. It's just not super technical. There's so many easy turns around here that are not too crazy, and they kind of benefit all the cars. They're all kind of medium speed turns. So,
but unfortunately, it sounds like you may have picked the wrong car when it comes to the speed to get around Craig Jancic. But I mean, either way, this was a heck of a fun battle to watch. I know you're a little disappointed here with the podium. I completely get it and understand it. But either way, I mean, 45 minutes around here, pretty much mistake-free, and you get yourself another podium here tonight. So congrats on the finish here. Who do you want to give a shout-out to or thanks to?
Shout out my girlfriend Kaylee, who's watching. Shout out my fam, and shout out Craig and Siv for giving us such a good race today. So,
well, once again, another podium here tonight. We'll see if you can back it up next week as we head off to the Glen.
All right, sounds good, boys.
That's your 3rd place finisher here tonight, and at the Pro class, the 19 of Colin Winslow. 2nd place is going to be the, I was going to say, just make sure we had him here, the 8 of Siviani Madrigal. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take Siviani?
Hey, Siviani, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, you guys put on a pretty good show there. You were able to come away second here tonight. Kind of talk me through your race here tonight.
Yeah, it was a really fun race tonight. Yeah, actually, there's two things that I haven't had a chance to talk to Colin to see what happened. But yeah, in the launch of the race, so I don't know. So he was so slow. I don't know if he had something, he had a mistake or something. But yeah, it was very weird. And yeah, then he did a really good job with the overcut, and it works very good, at least with me, right? So I think maybe he has a little bit of traffic. But yeah, so it was a really good job with a pit stop from Colin. And yeah, so at the end, I don't know what happened with him. Maybe a slowdown or something in the last.
Yeah, he had a slowdown.
Slowdown. Okay, yeah, I understand now. I was saying, well, so this is so nice, Colin, giving me the picture, right? So thanks, buddy. But yeah, so. But yeah, so it's really fortunate for him because, well, we were doing a really good race tonight. And yeah, so I was trying to push so hard, to get Craig. But yeah, I was trying to get behind Craig for a few laps. Well, actually, the entire race, trying to get a chance to make a little thing complex on him. But yeah, that BMW on the straight, it's insane, right? So I was like a 3 to 10s ahead, behind, but yeah, I was not able to catch him in the straight line. So the speed for the BMW is so insane. And yeah, I was trying then to push so hard in the S's, or in all those parts where I know that the McLaren was so good. But yeah, even though that BMW was so wide tonight, and it was impossible to get Craig. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the P2. So yeah, and yeah, it was a really fun race tonight.
Yeah, that's what Colin was saying. I mean, the BMW just had so much more straight line speed. Even if Colin hit this turn right and backed it up and got a good exit, he'd be on Craig's bumper, and then Craig would just pull away from him going down the straights. The BMW just had so much more straight line speed than what he had in the Audi, and he said he didn't really expect that, and kind of sounds like that you didn't really expect that either here out of the BMW.
Yeah, exactly, and also in the exit corners as well. So it was so amazing because I was trying to do my best exit corners in every single lap, and yeah, so yeah, when I just get like a 2 tenths more behind Craig, and wow, what's going on here? So I'm doing the best, and I'm getting the best exit that I can, and yeah, it was impossible tonight. Yeah, with the BMW in the straight lines and also in the exit corners. Yeah, it was so hard.
How nerve-wracking is it to just be? I mean, you guys were within a second the entire race, the top 3 there, and just you were in second there for the first part of the race, and then Colin was able to get you on the pit cycle there. But just talk about how nerve-wracking it is to be that close to each other for 45 minutes, and you're battling for a win too. Just is it what's going through your mind the entire race there?
Yeah, well, it's definitely so hard, right? So because the braking zones are different, so we have to be very, very careful with our brake signs, and especially when you are behind the other one. So it's very tough because sometimes the guy that is in front, he can brake a little bit earlier and also a little bit late sometimes. So yeah, it's really tough because you have to be focused on every single corner, because in every single corner he can do something different. Thankfully, well, Craig is a very consistent guy, right, driving, and he's normally he's doing the brakes in every single lap in the same space. But yeah, so that's the hardest part, right? To be behind is to understand what is the braking zone that the other guy is doing, and when he brakes a little bit earlier, you have to be very, very careful with that. But yeah, so it's really, really tough. So it's really tired because you have to be every single corner, as I said before, that focus, and also looking for the braking zones for the driver in front, and also looking for your exit corners, your apex, and also everything. So it's getting a lot in your head that is really tired at the end of the race.
Yeah, there was, I think maybe it was about 2 laps to go. I think Colin tried to back up I can't remember what corner it was, but he tried to back it up, and I don't think you were expecting that. and you kind of had to really get on the brakes hard, and it kind of cost you a little bit of time. I mean, you were able to get back to him within about a half a lap or so, but it's still like to your point there, it's, you have to be, laser focused and paying attention and expect it, to happen, even if it doesn't, but you were prepared for it there and didn't cause any, any kind of accident or whatever, but he was able to, kind of pull away from you guys there, but just kind of a braking zone where you weren't expecting it. But he's also trying to pass Craig, so he's trying to do everything that he can to to back up the corner and get a better run and trying different things while trying to defend you off too. So it's I couldn't imagine the nerves that you guys have right there and then do it for 45 minutes. I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, 45 minutes and then you guys finish with under a second of each other. I mean, it's just all three of you. It's just masterful driving really from all three of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, and actually that's one of the things that we are able to do something like that is because, well, so we know each other, I think, very well now, since a lot of races we have until now. So that's the good thing, that we know each other, how we are driving every single time. So we know that we are very clean drivers, and yeah, so that's how this can be possible, right? Because unfortunately, races, official races especially, you cannot do something like this, right? Because you don't know how is the behavior, right, for the other drivers. It is very more complex. But yeah, so thankfully here with these guys, it's something that we can do easily, I will say it, in that way, because yeah, so we know how we are driving and how we are able to do, and also that we are not going to compromise any other races, right? So that's something really good.
Yeah. Well, you come away second here tonight. Congrats on that. And anybody want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, guys, to you always with this amazing broadcast that you are delivering to us every single Wednesday. Thank you for all these amazing broadcasts. It's really funny to see the broadcast next day. I always enjoy that. And also to all the guys from the league, all the admins, all the drivers as well that make this league possible. And to my family, and also to Colin today, and also congrats to Craig, because he's driving so crazy and amazing. Impossible to beat, yeah. But yeah, so one day we will beat him when he made a mistake.
You'll have that chance next week at Watkins Glen.
All right, sounds good. But yeah, we'll see what happens there.
All righty.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
That is your second place finisher here in the pro class. The number 8 of Siviani Madrigal. Winner of the overall and the pro class tonight is going to be the number 3 of Craig Jancic. And Craig, just a nice, easy stroll out here tonight. You had this thing from beginning to end, and it really didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, no, it was super stress-free. Appreciate you guys for putting this on every week, and look forward to hopefully talking to you next week. Okay, great.
Yeah, good talk, buddy. All right, but I mean, man, just like we talked to Colin about it. I mean, it's fun watching this from up in the booth, but it's got to be stressful. I mean, you're trying to hit your marks, and there's so little to separate you guys this entire race. I mean, how much were you driving in the mirror?
The entire last pit. At post-pit cycle, 100% of the time, honestly, especially into the heavier braking zones. The high-speed stuff, I had an advantage. I very clearly had an advantage getting power down over specifically Civ, but I think a little bit on Colin too. The thing that he had is the world-famous Audi R8 braking system that feels like you could just go 50 feet deeper than everybody else. So it was actually a really fair fight when you take those two things into consideration themselves. But you nailed it. I mean, trying to be protective and praying that one time that he did get to my inside in the turn 3, praying that I would still have as much of a launch out of that slow corner as I did on the outside. And if I didn't have that launch, I don't think I win this race, because he could just go deeper on the brakes every corner anyway. So I probably would have been screwed. And that made my need for mirror driving just that much, more fervent, I guess. I don't know what happened on the start. Based on what I could tell from in-sim audio, I think Colin was a gear. I think he missed a downshift on the starting turn 1. So when he floored it out of one, he was at a very, very low RPM, and that's how we got the lead early. And I was surprised by it, but equally as thankful.
Yeah.
And then it was all mirrors.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I mean, you guys, again, the top three, you guys not separated by more than a second the entire race. And really even the top six, you know, a 3-car breakaway between you guys, 3-car breakaway behind you. But another thing we talked to Colin about, and this is probably the easiest track on the schedule, and it's probably the easiest track on any schedule when it boils down to it. It's not that difficult of a track, but you have to utilize every bit of it. You have to really maximize the entries. You have to let that car float out on a lot of these exits, and you paid for the whole track. You have to use the whole track out here tonight.
For sure. Yeah, and that's why I accrued 10 off tracks here this evening. Just try and, you know, sometimes you get a little bit too much. But you know, you have to be on that edge, or else you're leaving lap time on the table. And when you've got Sid and Colin, and I think Andrew had a shot at being the fastest car here, but he couldn't get a quali lap in. So he was, you know, he would have been a really formidable opponent if he was up here with us. And Herbert was super fast in practice too. So if qualifying pans out just the tiniest bit differently, I really think that this had a shot of being a 5 or 6 car attachment at the front, which would have been crazy. This was the first time the way it was that I felt like, you know, some of the IMSA races that you see in the GT3 class, it's you know, there's 3/10 between every car for 2 hours to start these things sometimes. So it was really, really cool to be a part of something like that. But you know, back to utilizing the whole track side of things. One of the most important things that iRacers can do, in my opinion, is learn how big your car is. Learn where, you know, I want to know exactly where the edge of my left front tire is, my right front tire, every moment. That's true in this. That's true in oval. I would imagine it's true in dirt, even though I don't do dirt. I think it's possibly the most important thing because it affords you the ability to push that limit even further. And you know, that I think that goes back to why I know we talked last week about street circuits. I'm sorry, please hold your vomit, Carl. That makes those really important. And one of my idols, Shane Van Gisbergen, he always talks about when he was in Australia, they always run street circuits, and you'd literally tap the wall in practice to understand where it is. And I think that principle correlates here very, 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 very usefully.
Yeah, I mean, you have to use that practice time to kind of find out where the track limits are, because every track you go to is different. You know, some track limits you look at it when you're driving by and it gives you you know, an off track, and other ones you can drive the entire car off the track and it's not an off track. So learning those track limits is absolutely huge to utilizing the whole track. But I think one of the coolest things that me and Joe liked here tonight was the variety. 8 different manufacturers qualified in the top 8, and I think that's the first time we've ever seen that. So I mean, that's what was it about the track? I mean, you know, Colin said it's one of the easier tracks, so it allowed you to just kind of use whatever you want. But I mean, 8 out of the 9 in the top 8. I think the Porsche was the only one that was out of the mix there. But you know, Anthony Jenkins qualified 3rd in the AM class, so they weren't like, you know, that far off pace. But that's pretty cool to have.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be a part of it, to be honest. You don't ever hear of things like that. And I think that shows a lot of things. I think that shows that our racers are putting in practice to try to get comfortable with cars. Colin doesn't run the Audi every week. Herbert doesn't run the AMG every week. And Tyler Torville doesn't run, I think he was Huracan tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, so like, you know, our people are putting in practice, getting familiar with cars. It pushes the competition level forward. But from there, it also is, you know, it does give some commendation to iRacing as well for building, at least for this track, setups that are very, very friendly. I've come on, you know, here and spoken before about testing the cars that I do, and I had the Audi, and I had the Huracan pretty tight. The difference maker for me was that it felt like I could put the power down better with the BMW, and I did vindicate myself and prove that right tonight. And I think that was the right choice because honestly, I don't know that I would have preferred the deeper braking that the Audi had. And I know Civ loves the McLaren. He's been killing it with that thing this season, even after the update that made it, in my opinion, pretty rough to drive. So that's an awesome stat. I'm really happy to carry that. And I think from what I can remember, at least back to season 6 or 7 when I joined, I think this is the first BMW win. So I'm pretty happy to have that banner too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because this is the first time I brought up the manufacturer standings coming into tonight, and the only cars that have yet to get a win were the Chevy, Mercedes, and the BMW. So first win for the BMW, gotcha. And even the first podium, or actually only the second podium for the BMW. So the only cars that have yet to get a podium are the Chevy and the Mercedes. So it's kind of funny. I just thought, you know what, I got some extra time. Let me get these these manufacturer standings up to date for tonight's race. And of course, tonight is the race where the top 8 are the 8 different ones. So it was perfect.
Awesome.
I knew it was going to happen, you know. So it's nice. Love it when a plan comes together.
You got that ESP. Yeah, it's great.
All right, buddy.
We'll see what I can do about getting the AMG on the podium next week.
There you go. Yes.
It's usually a good track for it.
Stop just trying to, to win with whatever you like. We got to even this shit out here. We got to get, one and everything. I'm tired of this.
I got you. I'll get right to the AMG. Honestly, it really usually isn't bad at the Glen. So I do think that it has a decent chance. It still has a decent top speed rating, and you kind of want that. Glen has a lot of high speed corners, so to that I say challenge accepted. Maybe. And I know
Hamilton was the lone one out there in the Corvette here tonight, and he was up there in the top 6 or 7 in the beginning, but a pit road issue put him back in the pack. So, but at least gotcha. He gave the Corvette a little bit of a run. But either way, everybody was running behind you tonight. Once again, another win here on the season, stretching out that points lead coming into the last 3 races. So, congrats on the win here tonight. Who are you giving a shout out to?
Yeah, first shout out to Sidiani and Colin, the top tier of racing respect I have for them and we have for each other on the track. I think that's shown through and through. So thanks to those guys. Thanks to the rest of the field as well. A really high car count here tonight, 36. I think that's up 6 from last week. That's awesome. I'm so happy to be a part of that. And thanks to you guys at Core Racing Network. For the nothing but top-notch broadcasts. I missed you last night, but we'll look forward to getting back to next Tuesday with the Xfinity Series. Thanks to Team Conti Sim Performance, Martin PC, the Free Beer and Hot Wings Morning Show, Digital Sim Sports Studio 3, The Magic, Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, Anna, everybody that watches Core. Just thank you, because without you, it's nothing. So cheers to all of you, and I look forward to talking to you guys hopefully next week.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Congrats again on the win. We'll let you go celebrate.
Cheers. Take care.
That's your winner here tonight in the Pro Class and overall, the 3 of Craig Jancic. Switch it over now to the AM Class. 3rd place tonight is going to be the 54 of Anthony Jenkins. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take Anthony?
Hey, Anthony, you got a copy?
Hey, what's happening? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Hey, Manny, you're able to get back to the podium here after a couple of weeks off. How's it feel to be back in the top 3?
Good, man. Especially after the disaster I had last week, it's nice to finish a race and keep the car in one piece. So,
yeah, and kind of keep your championship possibilities, going here. And I know you're probably lose a little bit of points here to Nicholas, but it's not too bad. So at least you're still there and still in the running, and still got a couple of races left here to go, and so still giving yourself a chance. But kind of talk me through your race here tonight and how you were able to come away with 3rd.
Super quiet race for me. I was able to make up a place in turn 1, and then after that it was just literally follow the leader. I didn't make any moves on anybody. I didn't get overtaken. It was just putting laps in. I tried to overtake, or I tried to undercut Jim, but I came out into some traffic and that didn't work out for me. So I'm happy to get a decent finish and go on to Watkins Glen. That's a pretty strong track for me, so hopefully I'll have some good pace there.
Now, we noticed that there was every car was here tonight that could be here tonight, and you were in the Porsche, and it looks like you were the highest finishing Porsche. Was there any other car choice, or was it just going to be the Porsche? So I think you've just pretty much been in the Porsche all year, haven't you?
Yeah, ever since they brought the McLaren back down to earth. I've been in the Porsche. I think I'll stick with the Porsche probably.
Is that just on a comfort level?
I just like it. I drive Porsche Cup mostly in my non-league racing time, so the way you have to drive the Porsche just kind of works for me.
So I guess we'll see you in the Porsche next week at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Right on. Well, you come away third here tonight. Keep your hopes alive for the championship, and maybe get some momentum back as you had in the early part of the season here after capturing the first 2 wins of the season, and then second in the third race there. So maybe some early season success and maybe some late season success can get you a championship here this season, and we'll see what happens at Watkins Glen. But before we let you go, anybody want to give a shout out to?
No, nobody tonight. Actually, no, I'll do my wife just to be safe. A shout out to my wife. But
Always the wife.
Always a safe move.
There you go.
All right.
Well,
All right.
congrats on the third, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Third place tonight here in the M class. That is the 54 of Anthony Jenkins. Second place in the M class is going to be the one and only Mr. Jim Dunn. And Jim, I had a chance before the race to change your name, give her the Mr., but it's got to stay. I mean, you keep running these podiums up here. I'm not going to be the one that takes that Mr. off and all of a sudden you miss the podium. So this is on you at this point. You screw up and then I'll take it off. How about that?
Yeah, okay, fine. That sounds good.
So, I mean, once again, another race here, and I love this track, plain and simple. I'm a big fan of the Red Bull Ring, and it's a fun track to get around here. Another huge car count up here, and it's one of those where I said it before the race. One little mistake here with these kind of car counts, and it's going to take you right out of the championship running. I mean, you have the 2 drop races, but those only go so far. So, I mean, what's happening here this season? I mean, what is with the consistency and keeping yourself up there, not only in the podiums, but in the hunt for the point standing some of these last 3 races now?
So I've kind of taken on a podium or DNF mentality. Like, it's either gone really well or it really hasn't. But last couple of races have been really quite good, and I'm finding some solid footing to really kind of drive better and have better races. So, and the next few tracks kind of work in my favor too. I'm really excited over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to it. Also, I'm finding quite a good fit with the Lamborghini lately. It seems like a really nice car to drive. So it's been good all around. Had nothing for Nicholas Cote today. He was just on fire. A very, very impressive drive by him.
Yeah, we did see a few drivers kind of step out of their element and stepping in some new cars tonight, and I said it to 2 other drivers that I interviewed. I'll say it to you too, because it's an amazing stat that we had 8 different manufacturers in the top 8 qualifying spots here tonight, and I don't think I've ever seen that in any race that I've been involved in.
Really?
So, yeah,
that's cool.
The only one not up there to make it 9 out of 9 was the Porsche, but obviously Anthony Jenkins in there in the Porsche, he made it onto the podium as well, and I mean it's a testament to these drivers, looking around and testing out different borders, and it's kind of 2 different mindsets that you can really look at. You can get out there, you can put in a bunch of testing and try different cars for different tracks, or you can do what I think is a little bit more prudent and find a car that you're comfortable with, find out how that car handles every different track and the nuances and how you can push it, what it likes, what it doesn't like, and I feel like that's kind of what you're doing here with the Lamborghini.
Yeah, so it also depends on when iRacing releases balance of performance updates and things like that too. Like that will swing things one way or another. Right now for me, it's either the Lamborghini or Porsche. I do like the Lamborghini more overall right now though, but it hasn't always been that way. Like there were full seasons where I ran the Mercedes and such. So I'm hoping that comes back into favor, because I did really like running that car. But we'll see. I'm just based on what tracks we're doing next, what the turn characteristics are, kind of dictate it for me. But it's not like I will be looking at 7 or 8 different cars. There's only ever 2 or 3 that I'm very comfortable with at a time and will test. So
yeah, but I'm really surprised. I mean, for a while now it seemed like the BMW or the Audi was kind of the ugly stepchild, but now I feel like it's the Mercedes that's kind of getting thrown by the wayside. And it was such a dominant car for so long before they started coming out with the newer models for the Ferrari and for the Porsche and for the McLaren and so on and so forth. But it was cool to see every manufacturer out there, and like I said, 8 different ones in the top 8. It's fantastic. But I feel like tonight kind of marks the not just the final run for the season here for 7, 8, 9, and 10 rounds, but kind of the start of the easier part of the schedule, in my opinion. Red Bull Ring, probably the easiest track on any schedule, regardless of where it is. It's not that difficult, but you do have to find every bit of speed here. But even the rest of the schedule, I mean, Watkins Glen, Fuji, Sebring, all of them are, either easy to drive, or drivers should have enough laps on them that that they can figure it out pretty quickly, as opposed to some of the tracks that you guys already went to, like Monza or like Circuit Villeneuve and Catalonia. So, I mean, do you feel like it kind of opens it up a little bit with these tracks getting a little bit easier in the second half of the schedule?
yeah, I do. I think the competition's going to be more stout, and it'll probably bring better numbers. We haven't hit 40 yet. I think we were at 36 tonight,
Right.
but hopefully if we have some people come out of the woodwork. It'd be nice, like Rich Petruccio, if he gets the chance to come out, or Peter Moller if he decides to make an appearance, or anybody who has been with us past seasons who haven't quite made it out yet. The door's always open to them too.
Well, if it gets to that point, we'll take a look at the numbers, and me and Joe will register. We'll put the broadcast on pause for a lap or two. We'll get out there, log a lap or two, just to get that number to 40 for you.
Yeah,
we promise we'll start from the pits. We'll stay out of everybody's way.
No, I was going to say the exact opposite. Make lap 1 just carnage, and then
I can do that for you.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Absolutely, yeah. No, just if they die, they die. Whatever. But
Well,
no, I'm very glad to see the last, the last race at the Tournament of Champions was a little bit rough, but this race, I don't know if many incidences happened in lap 1 at all. There were a couple in the opening laps, but I didn't see any or hear anything of people getting knocked out of the race right off the bat, which is fantastic. That's what you want.
Well, and I think that's kind of a testament, and why you're getting so many numbers, and why the numbers are still staying up there is, even last week there was every bit of opportunity for it to just be a crap show. With the tighter track there, Circuit Villeneuve, you got the rain, you got everything came into play there. There could have been so many incidents, and really hardly any. All things considered, and really, it's kind of how the whole season's been. There's been very few races where it's been a lot of driver on driver contact. That there may be some guys losing it by themselves, or overdriving a corner, or what have you. And we had that 1 or 2 times here tonight where we had some self spins. But I mean, other than that, the racing's been great. And put 36 cars into turn 1 here, there should be something, but I don't think we've seen anything.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We've also tamped down a fair bit in policing the league as well. They're just people had said in the past that we've been too lenient as far as any of that's concerned. So we've decided to step it up just a little bit, and make sure keep drivers in line as much as possible. And they've reacted very well. We've had very few arguments about what we're saying, which is good. Obviously, we will hear the arguments if they come in, and deal with them as they do. But no, we got a good group of people here for sure, and it's nice that it's staying at the level that it is. We haven't had it drop below 20 or just below 20, below 30 even this season, which is really good.
And yet, not even 5 minutes ago, you tell us to come out there on the track and just cause carnage. So,
Wow. Yeah, he needs some work. He wants some work to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, either way, you're putting in that work in these podiums, and another podium out here tonight, and I'm going to keep that Mister in there as long as I need to get you into this running for the championship. Maybe you're losing a little bit of ground here to Nicholas tonight, but very little. So still in the running after tonight. So congrats again on another podium. Who are you giving a shout out to tonight?
You guys, of course, for doing such a great job broadcasting and keeping me in line, telling me not to tell anybody to take each other out. The admin that helped me police the league and put the league on and organize everything, they do more than they realize. And everybody who races with us and watches, and if any of you guys know anybody that's kind of on the fence about joining and have thought, man, maybe not, try it out. We're welcoming. It's a good place to be. So anyway, thanks very much, guys.
Absolutely. Well, congrats again on the podium. We'll see if you can double it up again and come again next week and talk to us after Watkins Glen.
Yep, sounds good. See ya.
Second place finisher here tonight in the AM class is going to be the 83 of Jim Dutton, Mr. Jim Dutton, that is. Winner in the AM class, Joe, is going to be the 17 of Nicholas Coate.
Hey, Nicky, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, I know you took third last week. We talked about that, and you had your lap one incident and was able to come back and get third. And I think I mentioned something about looking back at the season, and if you were able to come away with the championship, that was going to be a race that really stood out. And you kind of back that up here this week and get yourself a win, and kind of even further that statement and push this thing even forward and kind of maybe widen that gap. Congrats on the win, first of all, and kind of take me through your race here tonight and how you were able to come away with the win.
First off, finally got a clean race where I didn't make a silly, stupid mistake or get taken out by somebody else. Yeah, it was pretty clean. It was up in the pack with the pro drivers for most of the first stint, running from I think we had a big group. It was 6th or 7th to I was 13th. Then a couple of them started making mistakes, and I capitalized on that. Got up to I was in the top 10 before the pit stop. Made up another position or two on the pit stop, and then it was just fun on-track battle with Bryce at the end of that race. We were nose to tail for the last probably 10 laps, but yeah, just tried to stay out of trouble and not do anything stupid and took home the win.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I don't want to say every race, but it's more times than not than an amateur can come out there and get a top 10, and there was able, you and Mr. Dutton was able to get it in the top 10 there as well. So some good runs from the AM class guys. Get up there and get it get in the top 10. You finished 8th overall, but get the win in the AM class. But some good racing here tonight at this track. I mean, we've talked about it with everybody here and how everybody was, the manufacturers were spread out. I mean, every car was here tonight. I mean, there's only one Merc and one Corvette, but they were all here, and there was 8 different in the top 8 there in the qualifying, and I don't know if you're the top. I think you were the top Ferrari, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think I was.
Yeah, you're the top Ferrari. Yeah. So I think you're in that quite a bit there, aren't you?
Yeah, I've kind of committed to the Ferrari for the entire season. After I started with the BMW 400 race, but I've been Ferrari ever since.
Yeah, so it seems like this track and the setup with these cars, everybody just kind of got in what they felt comfortable with and was able to. And I think that's a testament to how clean the race was too. I mean, it was some good battles on the track, but some just really clean races. No really guys, stepping out of bounds and overstepping the boundary or anything like that. But some good clean racing from everybody.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good race. It was a fun race. Good to see that everyone was clean. It's nice to see that there's more of a variety in cars, and it's not just everyone driving a McLaren anymore.
Yeah, and 36 cars I hear too tonight. I mean, I mean, we talk about it too in the other races on Core and on CRN, like how sometimes you get late in the season and the car count dwindles. But I mean, that doesn't happen here, and it's just, I mean, a testament to the league and you guys and to the drivers. I mean, just how clean everybody is and respectful too, because you get into some of these leagues and guys are just beating people out of the way and this and that, and it just kind of drives other guys away. But I mean, just the clean racing and the respect that other guys have for each other.
Yeah, definitely. I've been in some leagues that I'm no longer in because of the aggressive driving, and you don't get that here. Everyone's respectful. Everyone races with respect, and that's why I think we have car counts as good as we do this late into the season.
So we got a couple races left here. You came in leading the points. You're gonna walk away leading the points. Just what's it gonna take to kind of finish this thing out?
Just consistent. Try to stay out of trouble. More races like tonight where I kind of just run by myself and consistent. Watkins Glen, I'll be honest, I've never driven the boot. I've only driven the NASCAR version of the track, so that'll be an adventure. I think it's Fuji after. I've only played that in Gran Turismo, and then can't remember. Sebring. Sebring. I've got some pretty good laps on, so I don't know. Hopefully, the next two tracks I don't get in trouble. I don't make any mistakes, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, Anthony and Jim are both very capable drivers on the track. I think Jim actually had the fastest lap in our class for this race, and so it's always very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, both top threes were top threes in points. So I mean, just it's that close here, and it's gonna, like you said, just take care of it and stay out of trouble and try to come away with a good finish and just keep stacking up these podiums like you have.
Yeah, that's the goal for sure.
All right, well, congrats on the win here tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to you for your broadcast every single week. You guys definitely have one of the most professional looking broadcasts between all your leagues that you guys do. It's always a great product to watch. Like, I watch other people's leagues in my spare time when I have nothing to do from you guys. And then shout out to CSRL and then my wife for letting me sneak away for a couple hours every Wednesday night.
Right on, man. Well, congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. That
is your winner here tonight in the AM class, the 17 of Nicholas Coate. And man, just to reiterate, I mean, just fantastic racing from everybody out here. I mean, yeah, we kind of really kept our eyes on that top three in the pro class, understandably, as they didn't leave each other all night. But I mean, there's battles all throughout the race. I mean, like you said, Joe, anytime you looked at the the timing tower there was a lot of orange or yellows that the battles were really close, and it was hard to get away here and sometimes hard to pass. I mean, you had to kind of send it up there sometimes and to try and make these passes, but these drivers did it in every bit of a clean way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it amazes me how these guys can do it. Like I said, I told Siviani, like, you get their 45 minutes and they're nose to tail for 45 minutes straight, and nobody blinks. I mean, I know Colin got the slow down there, but it's just unbelievable racing.
Well, we got 3 more rounds left to go after we leave here tonight. We got, as we said, Watkins Glen coming up, and next week Fuji and Sebring, and before we round out this schedule. But I mean, the pro class maybe stretching out a little bit more here for Craig Jancic, obviously getting the win here. Colin Winslow finishing in 3rd, and Chris Hamilton having a very, very bad race, finishing way back there in 15th in the pro class, 21st overall after the pit road entry issues and penalty. So the pro class may be looking like another Craig Jancic championship, but the M class, yeah, your points leader won here tonight with Nicholas Coate, but 2nd and 3rd in the point standings end up coming home 3rd and 2nd respectively. So that thing is not going to stretch out too far with 3 races to go. Make sure you tune in next week to see what transpires at the Glen. I want to thank everybody that tuned in here tonight, especially the ones out there in chat, and feel free throughout the entire race to put some comments in there. We're always taking a look over there. So thank you to Barry, Peggy, Skylar, Jay, and everybody else that tuned in here tonight to the race. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. I want to thank our sponsors, as always, 40 Racewear, Makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. Rev up your iRacing experience with Replica Racing. They create custom liveries that make your car stand out on the track. Whether you want sleek, bold, or retro designs, their talented team delivers eye-catching, high-performance graphics tailored just for you. Make your mark and race in style with Replica Racing, where your dreams, or your design dreams, hit the fast lane. Let's envision the future together. TTR Racing, this father and son team, consists of Todd Torville in the M class and Tyler Torville in the Pro class. Just two guys who are here for a good time with good people and good racing. Thank you to our service members and veterans at TTR Racing, and of course, Martin at PC. This was a fun one. I love me some Red Bull Ring, but Watkins Glen is not going to be too far behind. It is another fun one, but that's going to be next week on Wednesday night. Make sure you tune in. Keep your eyes here on CRN for the Yes Car Truck Series coming up here at the top of the hour as well. But for myself, Carl Handwerk, and my co-host, Joe Sullivan, we'll see you at the track.